Hello, and thank you for tuning into this week's Mayor's Update. As always, we have a lot of important information to share with you here this week, so please feel free to share this video with your friends, family, relatives, and anyone else you think might find this information helpful over the course of the coming week. We had quite a crazy week here in Gardner this past week, so we've got a lot to let you know about, a lot of events that are coming up to give you some heads up about, and some thank yous to give as we always do. First off, I want to talk about the small fire that we had this past week at Elm Street School. Earlier this week, in the early hours of the morning, there was a small electrical fire in the annex of Elm Street School. This school is currently being used to house the Gardner Alternative High School, the Gardner Academy, and those students had not yet entered the building at that time. The only person who was really in the building when this fire alarm went off was the principal, Mr. Peter McMorrow. The situation was handled very well by the Gardner Fire Department, officials from that school, and the Gardner Building Department for coming to inspect to make sure everything that was done there. The area has been deemed safe and secure. It was just an electrical malfunction that took place, so I want to thank everyone for their patience that day, as school for Gardner Academy did have to be canceled that day, as well as the afternoon programming for the Boys and Girls Club, which is also housed out of Elm Street School. So I want to thank everyone for their patience and the effective manner in which everything that was handled was done that day. So thank you very much to everyone who was involved in that and for keeping the community safe. It seemed to be a one-off event with some leaks in the roof on the day that it rained, going in through the electrical conduit and then causing that electrical fire to occur. Those repairs have since been made. And again, the building is fully safe for our students to return back into that school. And I want to thank everyone who's involved. The Gardner Public Schools is going to be doing free meals again this year, as the state legislature did write that into law this past year. But one of the new additions that Gardner Public Schools is doing this year is we are offering free dinner kits for all of our students across Gardner Public Schools again this year. For more information on how to pick up a free dinner kit after school, in the school cafeterias across the district, you can see the Gardner Public School District's website, www.gardnerk12.org. That's gardnerk12.org. Or you can see the Gardner Public Schools Facebook page, and information is posted on both of those locations as to how to participate to obtain a free dinner kit for any student across Gardner Public Schools, so that we can continue to make sure that no student in Gardner Public Schools goes hungry. Holy Family Academy and Annunciation Parish are having their annual Fall Bazaar this coming weekend. The Poutines and Râpé sales will begin on Thursday, October 13th, and go through Sunday, October 16th, and the bazaar itself runs from Friday, October 14th through Sunday, October 16th. This is an event I know many people look forward to year after year, so do keep an eye out on Holy Family Academy's Facebook page and the Annunciation Parish website for more information on when the bazaar is occurring, what meals are being offered, as they've grown and expanded the meal offerings that they have there, and it really is a great community event that we can anticipate every fall here in Gardner. So thank you very much to Mrs. Colette Gogan, the new principal at Holy Family Academy, and Father Stephen Lundrigan, the pastor of Annunciation Parish, for continuing that tradition here in Gardner. I want to welcome one of our new police officers who will be starting at the Massachusetts Police Academy very shortly. Angel Estrada is a new Gardner police officer who was born in Puerto Rico, moved to Old English Village here in Gardner, grew up here in Gardner, and is now serving his community as one of our newest police officers as a recruit off to the Massachusetts Police Academy. I will be submitting his temporary appointment to the City Council very shortly, so that that'll cover him while he's going through his time at the Massachusetts Police Academy. And then once he graduates the academy, his full permanent appointment will be put before the City Council for their vote and approval at that time. With that said, we've had several questions about the Deputy Chief position here in Gardner. We had about 8 to 10 applicants for the position. 4 of those individuals will be interviewed next week by the interview committee, and then a final selection will be made by Chief McAveen and myself following those interviews that are taking place sometime next week. So we will be sure to keep you up to date as to when those positions are being filled as well, and as things move forward in all of our departments with the vacancies and those new appointees that we'll be filling shortly. I want to thank Director Mike Ellis, our facilities director at the Gardner Senior Center, Rob Cormier, and Nancy Acosta, the administrative assistant over at the Gardner Senior Center, for putting on this year's health fair over at Waterford Street School. There were over 100 health vendors there for our senior citizens to view people from the VA, people from different ear and eye doctors, different health services from throughout the region, counseling services that were there just for our seniors to be able to go and see if there's any information or networking they could do, that if they have a problem, now they know the resources available for them. So I want to thank everyone who participated in that very, very, very successful event. We had several hundred people stop by the Elm Street School Gymnasium to view that event there, and it was really a great success. And while we're speaking of Waterford Street School, as I'm sure many of you have heard or seen the special edition mayor's update that we got released earlier this week, Waterford Street School is set to become our new community center here in Gardner sometime in the summer of 2023. That will house the Gardner Senior Center, the Gardner Community Action Committee, or more informally known as the Gardner CAC, Growing Places, a Leominster-based food security nonprofit, and the Gamma Adult Day program will be moving over into the classroom wing of the Waterford Street School area as well. So for more information on that, you can see the city's website and social media pages, or you can contact my office at any time. The reason why we're letting people know about this now, rather than waiting till we get closer to when the ribbons are cut at the grand opening of the Gardner Community Center next summer, is because we want as much public and community input in this process as possible. The Gardner City Council will have to approve any leases for any of the tenants that are moving into that building, and will have to vote to approve moving the senior center from its location currently on Pleasant Street all the way to Waterford Street School. The main reason for moving the senior center is really just getting it onto a one-floor building. We've had a lot of incidents with the building having stairs at the senior center, and a lot of seniors having fall incidents. So getting it onto a one-floor building to make it more accessible and grow the programming that's available there, just because of the increased square footage that the senior center will have. So any questions on that, you can contact my office at any time. I want to thank the Gardner Domestic Violence Task Force for putting on the annual Domestic Violence Awareness Vigil that was held this Monday night. Council President Kaczynskis and I did have to leave a little early because there was an informal meeting of the City Council happening at the same time, but we were able to step out and present the proclamation on behalf of the city for October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month here in Gardner, and really take part in that very important event. This is something that we continue to look at ways we can continue to find resources, including looking for grants to see if we can eventually get a domestic violence advocate as an employee here at City Hall. But until we are able to do that, we'll be continuing to work with all of our local nonprofit agencies to make sure that we have the resources available so that people continue to find in Gardner a place that they feel safe and proud to call their home. And events like that and the different stakeholders that take part in hosting those events really amplify that and personify that here in Gardner, and I'm really thankful for all that they do. This past week also, Congresswoman Lori Trahan came to visit Haywood Hospital to present a check for just over $500,000 to Haywood Hospital for their surgical pavilion project, with money obtained from the American Rescue Plan Act that was passed by the federal government, more commonly referred to as the ARPA Act, the American Rescue Plan Act that was in there. That's the several millions of dollars that was released last year for different COVID recovery and infrastructure improvement projects, and the hospital fit that bill with their new surgical pavilion that they're doing there. If you don't know anything about that project, the hospital will be installing new operating rooms at their facilities for the first time since 1960. That includes 6 operating rooms and several different recovery rooms, and that'll really be able to grow Haywood's surgical capacity by about 20% and allow them to start doing minimally invasive and spinal surgeries as well at the Haywood campus, which we currently aren't able to offer in Gardner and are only offered in Worcester, Boston, and Greenfield. So thank you very much to Haywood for their continued investment in this community, and to Congresswoman Trahan for securing that funding so that we can continue to invest in ourselves as well in these projects. Haywood's plan is to eventually turn their existing operating rooms into their new endoscopy center for people who are looking for those types of services as well. So they're really continuing to grow the services that they offer there as the city's largest employer already. Mass Development and Fidelity Bank recently announced a new partnership with Ave Rentals for the work being done at the Old Temptations and Ryan Block building for the 29 new luxury market rate apartments that are being constructed over there. Fidelity Bank through Mass Development is giving Ave Rentals a just under $3 million low interest loan for them to fully be able to finance the project. That's about $2,940,000 on top of the original $900,000 grant that Mass Development had already given them for the underutilized properties project. And those apartments are set to be fully opened by July 2023. So a lot of exciting work being done here in the downtown. And as many of you saw, Tony Molina, the new owner of both Wheeland Supply buildings and the Gardner News building and the Bank of America building, has announced recently that his plans for the Gardner News building is to do one commercial storefront aside 11 market rate apartments over there, and then in the Bank of America building likely doing a steakhouse or high-end restaurant as well. So we've got a lot of exciting things coming up here in downtown Gardner through the work of the investment being done both public and private in our community. Lastly, I just want to close by reminding people that on Monday, October 10th, City Hall will be closed in observance of the holidays that are coming up with Indigenous Peoples Day and Columbus Day. However, in City Hall's auditorium at 10 a.m. on Monday, October 10th, the Gardner cheerleaders will be doing a cheer clinic open to the public for people to attend and see just how much effort goes into a cheerleading practice and what our cheerleaders do to get to the national levels that they've gotten to before. So if you're around on Monday at 10 a.m., please stop by Gardner's Perry Auditorium here at Gardner City Hall and check them out. It should be a great time for all. However, that concludes this week's update. As always, if you have any questions on anything we shared with you here today, please feel free to contact my office at any time, and I look forward to speaking with you again next week. Thank you very much, and have a great day.